Iintombi ezilala emini. Kukho iintombi ezingqengqa emini, ziyolelwa kukuphunga ubuthongo zizolile. Azingxami. Ezi zintombi ezingavuki neentaka, zivuka xa kuvuma umzimba. Ziyazimamela.
And that was part of the grief. And their eyes would just soften because you lose a friend and you just, it's another thing. Nothing can prepare you. And the last time I saw Ilifa was at my mom's funeral. So I had to dedicate the book to them. And one of the things I've always done with a kind of a rupture with mama is just move on with life. You carry on living. And so working on the book was like, well, we carry on living with both of these people. And one is loved, like she loved.
First, perhaps as a remark on translation in general, I remember a conversation I had with somebody a while back about Sepedi being a Sepedi speaker. And he was telling me that, for example, if you look at the Bible, I think it's Matthew 6:11, it tells us, give us this day our daily bread. And he says, but if you look in the Sepedi translation of it, it talks about give us bohobe being sort of like, but it doesn't say give us rot. So the explanation that he was giving to me was that you're not really translating the literal words, you're translating the context that can make sense for people who are actually reading that. So that's first comment that I just came up in the context of what was being discussed earlier. So my question then, I suppose, is more around something that you've alluded to, around us speaking our languages, us writing in our languages. To what extent do you think we are still sort of being driven and being pushed by the sense that we need to fight against an erasure as opposed to just being and expressing ourselves? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Nervousness, or there's this anxiety about our languages as though they're going to disappear. And it's like the English hegemony, the Englishness. You know, that's the thing that we probably ought to be grappling with in more forceful ways. That's the thing that made me write Ilifa as well in the way that it did, because I like Nkali, I like Sempejiako, I like Victoria Swartboy, I like Nonsizi, and I think what's sad is that our kids don't have a full range of IsiXhosa, and I'm going to talk about IsiXhosa, and I think it could be the same with all African languages. So, abantwana besingesi, and perhaps even to abantwana besibhulu. What do we call them? Amabhulu, sorry. Amabhulu, abafuni phofu elogama. But that's a conversation for another day. Is that they have a range. So if I think of like my heavy English education, we were introduced to Shakespeare in Standard 3, grade 5. Azingxami. Ezi zintombi ezingavuki neentaka. Zivuka xa kuvuma umzimba. Ziyazimamela. Women who sleep through the day. There are women who sleep easily through the day, leisurely, slowly, sipping on some slumber, unhurried. These women do not stir with the waking birds, awake only to the rhythm of their bodies. In repose, they edify themselves.
Good day, book besties. I am here to reflect on the book launch that I attended yesterday. You would have seen the clips at the beginning of this video. This book launch, I was repeat for like last minute because I saw it like in the last bit of the day on Friday, and when I saw what book it was, which is Ilifa by Athambile Masola, I was like, I have a copy of this book. I definitely need to go to the launch, right? And I saw that she was launching the translation of this book to English. So this is a Xhosa poetry book, and she was translating it to English. And I read this book. I don't know when I got this book actually. I still have the slip so I can check when I got this book. I got this book in 2021. So I read it in 2021. And almost 5 years later, she is launching her translation of this book. And I love this book. When I read it, I gave it 4 stars. And I think I'm going to read it again. It might be a potential good 5 stars now that I've attended launch and I got to meet the author and I got to listen to some of the poetry. But something that I want to speak about today that really touched my heart and I want to reflect on because it's a bit of a soft spot for me. Yeah, it's a bit of a vulnerable moment for me. So I am a Xhosa girl by virtue of my dad being Xhosa. So my mom is a Tsonga woman, my dad is a Xhosa man, and they got married. And because patriarchy is patriarchy, I am I am then Xhosa, right? Well, let me not call it patriarchy, but the structure of our culture and tradition is that I take on the side of my dad. So I am Xhosa by that virtue. So what that means is that my education system, what I studied as my home language, was IsiXhosa. So I did IsiXhosa. But something that I went through as a child throughout my 12 years of learning IsiXhosa is being emotionally, I want to say emotionally bullied. That's what I call it, right? Emotionally bullied because time in and time out, every single year in my home language class, I'll always be reminded that or be told that, hey, you don't look Xhosa. Hey, you don't sound Xhosa. Where are you from the Eastern Cape? Do you guys go to the Eastern Cape and stuff? So just a backstory. I was born in Johannesburg. I was raised in Johannesburg. So were my parents. So Johannesburg is not like a city, or Gauteng is not a province that was made like 2 decades ago. It's been a thing for years and years. So it only makes sense that there is a lineage of people in a family who would have grown up here. And I don't think, and to be fair, we were learners and kids, but I don't think my fellow learners understood that. So they always poked at me like, are you Xhosa? Where are you from? What Xhosa are you? Do you guys go home? Do you go to the Eastern Cape? Oh, Ninani Chipile. You're not real Xhosa and stuff. So that didn't make me want to be proud of being a Xhosa speaking person. So even though I did Xhosa, and in fact, I compensated for that bullying by choosing to do very well in the language, right? So I was showing up doing very well in the language because I was like, yes, you might be from the Eastern Cape and you might be fluent speaking and know all these things, but I can equally do well academically in this thing, right? So I was compensating for all those things that they were making me feel. Now, the reason I bring this up is because at the launch yesterday, somebody asked the question, how do we help our kids who grow up in Gauteng and are growing up English speaking learn their home languages? How do we help them learn IsiXhosa? And I think the answer was in the lines of, guys, language is carried through verbally. Most of the time, language is translated through generation or is carried through generation through a verbal transmission, right? It's really ever text and books and stuff. We often speak about that there aren't enough home language based written books. So how then has our language been carried throughout all these years? It's been through verbal conversation, it's been through verbal dialogue, it's been through verbal transmission. So she was saying, guys, speak your language in whatever form that it comes to you. Speak it. We should stop shaming each other for the dilution of the languages that we speak. It gives us an opportunity, yes, to learn the different dialects, learn the different aspects of our languages, because we integrate as society. We live in different parts of the country. We live in different parts of the world. So naturally, our language is going to transform, and naturally, the I guess the perception or the view of what a person who carries the language looks like isn't going to be the same, right? Because we are all intermingling with each other, we are all interacting with each other, and we are learning and borrowing from each other's languages. So she was like, stop shaming people. So stop shaming yourselves, stop shaming others, and let's stop shaming anybody who tries to speak the language. We are better off speaking the language and transmitting it and making sure that the next generation of kids know about the language. Yes, the onus is going to be on them if they want to go into depth and learn it better and know it for its root, not to take away that there is a core essence of what the language is known to be or is known for. But we should stop shaming each other for the languages that we carry. And I felt so validated because I was like, all along I've carried this shame and I rarely ever speak IsiXhosa because I'm like, okay, if I'm not Xhosa, then I don't have to speak the language. Every now and then I will speak, but I will not, it's not something I pride myself in. So I'm really, really thankful that I got to attend the book launch and I got to hear that part of the conversation, because it really affirmed a part of me that I didn't even know needed affirmation or needed validation. But yeah, man, get a copy of this book. It's Ilifa by Athambile Masola. It's a collection of poetry. So it's an anthology. Imibongo in Xhosa. I have the Xhosa version and I love it. And I got the book autographed, obviously. And I'll share some pictures as well with the author. Ilifa. Ezingcondo. Lempumlo encinci. Ezizandla ezigadalala. Nezinwele ezishineleyo, igagu, ukundweba, ukuzigqatsa, ukuzithanda, ukuzidla. Andinamfuyo, andinandlu, andinamhlaba. Imbali. Zibhale kodwa ungabhali esantini. Hleze uhambe namanzi olwandle. Zibhale kodwa ungabhali emthini. Hleze bawugawule okanye bawutshise. Zibhale kodwa ungazibhali ngamafu. Hleze abaleka nomoya okanye abe yimvula. Zibhale kodwa ungabhali ngembola nodaka. Zona zihlambeka lula ngamanzi. Zibhale ngesiqu sakho, abo banamehlo bakubone. Zibhale ngelizwi lakho, abo banendlebe bakuve. Zibhale ngeenyawo zakho, abo bafunayo bakulandele. Zibhale ngobuqu bakho, bungaze buvuthululwe njengothuli.